I'm glad that you mentioned this, this informative point, because After Dark
is more instructive and educational.
Yes, and if you remember on our very first installment, all that time ago, I said to you that Weymouth After Dark,
More instructive educational.
yes, addresses those issues which are not normally spoken about on television. Sometimes when you feel that you turn on that dial and nothing really relates to you. That's not my life. I'm not like that. I don't care about that. Well, today on
I wouldn't do that if you paid me.
Yes. We're going to have a debate about
I don't eat those.
the issues that really matter to you. In just a second, we're going to have a debate about zombies.
I wouldn't go near her.
A debate about zombies. So stay with us. We're going over to the debating realm, and I will moderate
They
our
should be
first
allowed
Weymouth
to
After
do
Dark
that.
debate. What to do about the issue of zombies that is facing us right now. And today we are going to be debating the issue of zombies. How to deal with a possible zombie invasion. I'm joined by two parties that will be engaging in this debate. First, we have Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
Chris is a zombiologist?
That is correct.
A zombologist.
A zombologist.
Zombologist. And he will be arguing his side of how to deal with the issue of an imminent zombie invasion. His opponent, to my left, we have Weymouth After Dark's own Joe.
Hello.
And he will be giving his recipe, his formula
Josephus.
for how to deal with this instance. As determined by a coin toss, Chris will go first with his opening statement as to how to deal with a zombie attack. So you have 2 minutes or less, Chris.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I think people don't realize that the threat of zombies is a very real and dangerous threat to us. As you all know, in Weymouth there was the Air Force Base, which is now defunct. In 1966, the Air Force commissioned from Darrow Chemical Company a chemical called trioxin, which they claimed would be a marijuana defoliant. Actually, it causes indestructible zombies. It reanimates flesh. These dead bodies come back to life. They cannot be stopped. A shot to the head doesn't work. They are alive. And the Air Force Base has been decommissioned. These barrels that contain the trioxin are missing. Nobody knows where they are. Do terrorists have them? This is a weapon of mass destruction. If it was unleashed in the United States or in Weymouth, we would be faced with the zombie invasion. So therefore, it is imperative that we prepare for this.
Thank you, Chris. With this opening statement. Joe, would you like to give your opening statement about a zombie attack, the threat that it poses, and how you view this issue of a zombie attack?
Well, I actually thought we were talking about the song "Zombie" by the Cranberries, so I'm kind of not that ready.
The group, the Cranberries.
Oh yes, the Cranberries.
But I'll think of something. In short, I think that zombie attack can be avoided because they have zombies in the Caribbean, and the sky doesn't fall down there. So we should find out whatever they're doing right in the Caribbean and do it here.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
And I think also that there might be possible medicinal uses for zombies too.
Now, my first question,
because we mentioned the that this chemical that creates the zombies can reanimate dead tissue.
That is correct, trioxin.
Perhaps there is a medicinal use for zombies, so there's a reason to keep zombies around. Perhaps invasion by zombies is the imminent threat. Perhaps zombies can be sort of, that's what I'm looking for, assimilated.
like the household robot.
Yes.
Yes.
The droid.
Now, my first question is for you, Chris. If I'm not mistaken, I've read a few leading reports on some reputable websites on the internet, as well as in the Weymouth Sun-Times, that says that you have actually formulated a theory, perhaps, about the origins of zombies and about how the zombification process actually occurs, using footage from various zombie attacks that we have documented in the motion pictures. Is this true?
This is true.
Would you like to just quickly explain that for our viewers so that they understand? And then we'll get a rebuttal from Joseph.
Well, first to address what Joe had said before with the Caribbean and voodoo zombies, that's an organic zombie. It's usually some sort of curse that reanimates them, and it's for the purpose of control. So these zombies are controlled. They can be used as pets. It's wonderful. With trioxin, you have a chemical situation. This is not an organic zombie. You know, they have one desire. They need to eat flesh. We've seen it in all the zombie movies. They need to eat flesh to survive, or they need to eat brains. I think the thing with the trioxin is they come back to life and they have feelings. And
One could think they could eat sweetbread.
Well, I think part of the problem is it hurts to be dead, apparently. That's what I've learned from watching zombie movies. And eating brains apparently has some sort of narcotic effect on them that takes the pain away.
Well, Chris, if I could interject for a moment, I've looked at some of your research, and I, speaking for some of our viewers out there, don't really understand why an undead entity needs to eat at all.
Well, yeah, you would think they wouldn't. Their digestive system wouldn't work, so they wouldn't be able to absorb anything. Their circulatory system works, so there would be no point in eating for nourishment. It could be
emotional or psychological, not necessarily physiological. You know, it's psychosomatic. They need to eat.
Sort of like with the cigarette, and it's the action of smoking the cigarette, even after
It's the action of eating the brain, and not really the physical, you know, necessity of it, or the physiological necessity of it.
It would make sense, or perhaps, I mean, I theorize that perhaps their nerve tissue is what's alive, and by eating brains they can replenish their decaying nerve system.
Is this sort of like a Subway diet for zombies?
Exactly. If Jared could lose 30, 40 pounds probably in a week being a zombie.
Interesting.
You know, a little rot, you drop the pounds. Right off.
He's not already?
My next question for you, Joseph. That sounds like we'll be repeated all over the news. But my question for you is how?
How?
Not if, not when, but how does one stop a zombie attack? I read that it takes 100 bullets to stop a zombie when he's approaching.
I think that the zombie attack can be prevented before that it happens. Because I think, you know, if we could create a sort of federal zombie regulatory commission that promotes organic zombieism, zombieism through spells, incantations, and poisons, the traditional old-fashioned Caribbean type of zombieism, then we'll have a sort of native zombie population who are much more reliable and sort of contained within society.
But isn't this, your critics might say...
That way we won't have nuclear zombies that eat brains.
If I'm not mistaken, when the plague wiped out cats and dogs, only a matter of years later, the ape was according to the documented evidence of the Planet of the Apes movies, the apes were assimilated into household servitude and took over the world. Could the same thing happen with zombies?
That's entirely possible.
Chris.
Especially if they're led by a zombie of Roddy McDowell.
Oh, if anybody talks even remotely like Roddy McDowell, then we need to move away from that. Chris, my question for you, 30-second response to what Joe has been saying. How would you stop a zombie invasion if it happened? How would what you do, and the viewers at home want to know, how would you better handle a zombie situation than what Joe is suggesting, if you think you can?
Well, I think preventative, the first thing would be is to locate these drums of trioxin. Get them out of the way. We can't have that out there to fall into anybody's hands, because then you have a situation that's totally out of control. Should we reach a situation where there are zombies out there, I think forming some sort of task force on a grassroots level would be the best way to deal with it.
A militia of sorts.
Yes.
I've actually begun to organize the Weymouth Zombie Patrol, which would be responsible for patrolling the borders of Weymouth for zombie activity.
The Weymouth Zombie Patrol.
That's an interesting idea.
The borders of Weymouth. Can you tell us a little bit more about this while you have it?
It's a volunteer-based group. We had people basically patrolling the streets and the graveyards and wooded areas of Weymouth for zombie activity.
Yes.
They would report back.
The Shaw's Plaza.
The Shaw's Plaza, which I have actually seen a number of suspected zombies at the laundromat.
I heard that they're actually, because they don't use unions there, they're actually taking in Caribbean zombies as slave labor. Instead of sugar plantations, now they work in retail and
baggers.
Supermarkets. Yeah.
Scandalous.
Baggers.
Scandalous. So you have this organization, this grassroots group that you think can combat the growing zombie problem in Weymouth.
Exactly.
If I'm interested in it, how do I find out more?
You can write to us at the Weymouth Zombie Patrol, P.O. Box 1138, Weymouth, Massachusetts, 02189.
Can we see
Do we
that
have
on there?
a graphic for that, for the
For
Weymouth,
the Weymouth Zombie Patrol?
there's Weymouth
Well,
After
that's the
Dark.
Weymouth After Dark.
we have a graphic for the Weymouth Zombie Patrol in Weymouth, Massachusetts.
Our last line of defense against zombies.
Yes. Could you repeat that address one more
the
time for us?
computer's down, so just
Yes,
repeat
it's
the
the
address.
Weymouth Zombie.
Poltergeist is in there attacking the...
Maybe the zombies gate it.
The zombies are in the control
Do you
room.
remember that game?
Excellent game.
You do it. Anyway, yes, as you were saying.
Yes, please, if you're interested in joining, it's the Weymouth Zombie Patrol. It's Post Office Box 1138, Weymouth, Mass. And, basically we would send you the enrollment information and try to get you a license to basically destroy zombies.
Yes,
At
can
any
I bring
rate,
my
we need to
12
destroy
gauge?
the zombies. 12 gauge, and actually, the thing with these...
Weren't you just saying about the more traditional, holistic approach to taking
Well,
out
I think
zombies?
we could recruit zombies as well to join it. The traditional holistic, they could be like the native levies they used in the Zulu.
Wouldn't this be some sort of zombie civil war?
Actually, you might be onto something. If we could get organic zombies to combat
fight the other
nuclear
zombies.
nobody would die.
That's what I'm all about, folks. Finding an accepted role in Anglo-American culture for the zombie, like they have in the Caribbean culture, so they can be productive dead members of society.
Productive dead members of society. Now, this is what I'm going to... What rights, what privileges, what protections should a zombie be afforded to either of you gentlemen? What status do they have as a citizen?
I would think none. They can't vote.
No? Well, they don't have corporeal property, do they?
No, they got brains. It's just they're eating someone else's.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Closing statements, gentlemen. We've had some fascinating conversation here. With the toss of the coin, you won once again, Chris. It was a two-sided coin. Would you please give us just a very quick summary of your closing statement on the issue of zombies?
The issue of zombies is real. The threat of zombies is real. That's the first thing to realize. And once you accept the fact that there are, well, maybe there aren't zombies, but there's a possibility, a distinct possibility that there would be zombies, you need to be prepared. Best way to be prepared, join the Weymouth Zombie Patrol. If we can get enough members, we can spread from town to town. We'll have a united federation of zombie patrollers. It's all about prevention, folks.
Thank you. Joseph.
Yes.
Josephus.
Yes.
Your final statement on the issue of zombies, please.
Zombieism is a fascinating thing, and in many places in the Caribbean, it's an industry in and of itself. Unfortunately, it's not contained culturally within Anglo-American society. We should adopt the sort of Caribbean practice of integrating zombieism into society and promote natural zombieism and to make zombies become productive or at least accepted dead members of society.
I want to thank both of you,
And fight evil zombies created by unnatural means.
Joseph and Chris, for joining us today. Please join us on our next Weymouth After Dark debate when we will discuss phantom helicopters. Are they real? Thank you very much, and we are going to a special presentation.